Paint With Me videos, I believe, are more of a Martha Stewart meets Mr. Rodgers. Hey chum, don't you just love it? I don't do warm, I don't do fuzzy. I can do warm and fuzzy, but if you're gonna lay next to me, then we could talk. Here's the thing. I think that with these Paint With Me videos, you're fed a dopamine, a hit, an algorithm-based content for your engagement and entertainment. Sure, you could get a few ideas, but is it truly meant to inspire great art, or is it cozy, decorative art? Now, decorative art is not bad. I know certain people like, but the whole thing is, do you want your art to be described as comforting and cozy or cute? If it is, this video is not for you. Do you think your work is bad because you lack talent, or is it bad because you think it's too easy? The Paint With Me trend may be killing your art. I truly, truly believe that with your art, if you are going to be worth your weight in gold, your art has to say something about you, where you come from, how you vision the world, how you mirror the world, and tell the story of how you came to be in that world, and how you see that world is important, because we all need to figure out a way to integrate and virtually relate to each other through a visual language. That is the most important thing. Art needs rigor. It doesn't need ease. And great art doesn't come easy. It takes work, practice, time, and most importantly, patience. You do not get that with a Paint With Me video. You may think you have an art problem, but the reality is you may have a comfort or cozy problem. Now, if you like this video and like to see more content like this, please, please, please join the subscription list and hit that notification bell for all updates, art drops, merch, everything, my craziness, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Just join, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Back to the video.
You know what I know? Art.
Oh, well, why don't you shut your hoe ass up?
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Henry Haight. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, and this is the channel where we talk about all things art, creation of art, process of art, tips, tricks, chains, and whips. Welcome. Today, this video topic is on the trend of the Paint With Me and why I believe the Paint With Me trend may be killing your art. Now, over the years, before, I've watched a lot of YouTube in my time to see what the kids are doing, and I've noticed a trend with the Paint With Me, and I think there are pros and cons to this. So I am not necessarily going to rag on, screw Paint With Me, but I truly think that, one, there are bad habits, such as the use of, people with this large canvas and this little brush. Just things that I see that could make not only the artist who's showing this Paint With Me video and their process, but things that would make it far easier for them. And I have to remind myself that sometimes these people are learning, and that's okay. On the flip side of that, there are people who actually think that when they do these, I'm not going to name names, they indicate themselves as professionals, working artists, and things like that. And to each his own. I gotta say something nice before I go back in. But I just think they're learned traits that make the work harder for that particular, especially with a lot of self-taught artists. Now, I would be considered a self-taught artist because I dropped out of art school.
Devil child, devil child.
Yet, I'm not going to sit there with, a half a meter painting and a little brush doing this. No. Mm-mm. So, at the same time, I think that this video trend could actually allow someone to, I'm going to choose my words carefully here, allow themselves to develop bad habits as well as think that that is the norm. Now, a lot of these paint with me things, I have my own opinions on them. I think that some artists have, some of these content creators have great raw material as well as talent that could be just sharpened. Now, not everyone has to like my work, especially good grief 8888. I don't care. But I know my art's not for everybody, and some of the art that I watch on these things, it's not the art itself, it's the practice of what they're doing that I just feel that sometimes people can see this and go, oh well, I'll just emulate and copy this, and therefore they get frustrated and they think that this is how it's done. Now, there is not a rule book, but technically there are practices and concise techniques to help you improve, in understanding your paintbrushes, for one. And a lot of these paint with me, they just kind of ramble on, Valerie Lynn, for fucking hours, Jesus Christ. And, I know she's young and she's out of school. The weird thing is, I truly, truly believe that with your art, if you are going to be worth your weight in gold, your art has to say something about you, where you come from, how you vision the world, how you mirror the world, and tell the story of how you came to be in that world, and how you see that world is important, because we all need to figure out a way to integrate and virtually relate to each other through a visual language. That is the most important thing. Paint with me videos, I believe, are more of a Martha Stewart meets Mr. Rodgers. Hey chum, don't you just love it? I don't do warm, I don't do fuzzy. I can do warm and fuzzy, but if you're gonna lay next to me, then we could talk. But I'm a hothead, I'm a bitch, there, I said it, okay?
Shut up!
So, yeah, anywho, I think that when you watch certain artists work, it is incredible to watch them, and you virtually just want to just be silent. I prefer those type of videos because I watch, Andrew Tischer and John O'Dryo, from Robert Longo, these people that I've even Richard Prince, watching them work is just, I know my own practice, and I'm like, because I am just silent, zipped, and observing. That is how it works for me. I know certain YouTubers like Gaza, he likes to just get in there and see, if it happens and doesn't explode, then fine, but the paint with me things, I think, aren't all bad, but I do think that they can create a habit for you to try to copy how they work and how their color palette, and virtually get into this convoluted, want to emulate them. All artists are inspired by other artists, yes. However, you still have to put your own spin and your own identifiable marks on what you do. So this is where the commitment and that frustration and that tension, the repetitiveness, and the why isn't this happening for me yet? Because it is, like I said in one of my previous videos, it is the chutes and ladders, and you have to train your art practice much like that of a thoroughbred racehorse. Your creativity is that horse, and if you don't let it out in the field and virtually train it and keep at it, you don't improve. Okay, I'm going to try to be nice here, but I tried to give information to a particular artist on YouTube because I just thought, well, if he just changed his brush, it would be more helpful. And he's like, meh, meh, meh. And okay, well, if you're so fucking brilliant, then fine. Then, if you're not going to progress, yes, that could be a bitchy way of looking at it, but I'm just like, I'm trying to explain that this would actually help you, especially having knowledge of a particular paintbrush and why precision and control matters in your mastery of your craft is essential. They don't really talk about this in Paint With Me videos because they just la-di-da, happy fluffy clouds, like, oh, the sun's out. Hey, my studio's cozy. Yeah, fuck that. No winner, no warm and fuzzy, no bueno.
Bad little white girl.
But I digress. I think it's imperative that you're going to make those happy accidents and those mistakes, and you virtually cannot trust your instinct when you're trying to paint someone else. And I think that if you can come up with 5 adjectives to describe who you are, 5 verbs in what you want to do with your artwork, 3 nouns of where you come from. I sound like David Bowie here because it sounds crazy to say these things, but we're trying to get to the core of who you are and what makes you tick and why you want to put color to paper or canvas or pen and ink to paper, whatever. But these are crucial things that are going to help you understand your craft, your technique, as well as where to direct your art and what market and audience to go to. It's essential. And I truly don't believe that you get that from a video. I think with social parasocial relationships, especially on YouTube and stuff, people think that I'm coming for these people. No, but the whole thing is that I think there's a false sense of security. Call me a cynic, dyed in the wool, guilty. But at the same time, I do think that when you venture out on your own, as fearful as it is, you're probably getting closer to the core of who you are as an artist or want to be. And therefore, that is the leap that all artists have to take. You have to do it alone in a sense, because you're going to spend time by yourself, either with listening to a podcast or something. I need white noise sometimes, just our music just to go on in the background. But I'm always alone. I don't like distractions when I'm working. I really don't like it because it gets in the way of my creative flow. And when making these YouTube videos, I don't enjoy actually having to set up the cameras, just because I know it's there and I'm conscious of it, because I'm like, oh my god, what if I fart or something, But here's the thing. I just want to virtually create without the presence of trying to appease certain people. Good grief, 88 and or anyone else, because essentially when I finish the work, I have this collective sigh, this breath that I'm withholding, and then when I exhale, I was like, whew, okay, first part is finished, second phase is finished, and there's this build up within my stomach. It sounds weird to say this, but that's how my creative process feels sometimes. These little earthquakes or tremors that I'm like, I can see these pieces of how they're supposed to go together, and the colors and virtually like, no, this, and I'm trying to edit and whittle it down to how I feel it truly needs to be. And therefore, that's the process. You will not get that from a paint with me video, because someone's yapping away and blah, 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 about, and 6 months later, they're still yapping away, and it's just like, fuck, it's just, zip it and just fucking, tell me about the fucking painting after it's done, or the drawing. Then I can understand, because I need to be entitled to my own opinion of what I'm seeing. When you just, you're kind of like, choo choo, here comes the train, feed me, blah blah. No, and this is the thing that I think that with social media, the compliance, the conformity, and the aspirational things that these videos curate as normal kind of rose tint and cloud other people's idea of what an artist is, because they never talk about the other shit that working professional artists have to deal with. It's all rose tinted and it's happy, and I made $12,000 off a painting. Great, get that money. Don't make it make you. However, it's just, again, we're looking at just solely curated things. Life is the thing that happens in the way of your art, and that's when your best art is when you seep your life into that work. Come for me if you think I'm wrong. No, but that's just, again, my opinion. I'm entitled to it. You don't have to agree with me. But I truly believe that, if you want to develop your craft, your practice, those are the things that you need to do. And to review, 5 adjectives to describe who you are, 5 verbs and what you want to do with your artwork, 3 nouns of where you come from. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I truly just want people to, when they watch these videos, to just think outside the box, outside the norm. And you're going to hear a lot of people go, well, it's not really for me. And that's okay. Because eventually, not only are you trying to work towards developing your art and your craft and your practice and your visual language of who you are, but you're telling a story about the world that you live in and how you see it, which is the most important thing in all of this fucking curated cotton candy color world of, pretty, cozy shit. You need to be the real deal. And your art needs to back that up. That's the most fearful thing that I think a lot of people want, because we are now, I've come into it like, oh, this is what an artist does in a day. I don't want to show you what I really do in a day, because sometimes it's not as glamorous, and sometimes it's way too nasty. But that's just me. But anywho, I just hope that when they watch these videos and you take some of this advice, take what you like, delve into it, do the research yourself, because at the end of the day, it is you who is going to have to do the work. It is you who's going to have to research of who you are and do the happy mistakes, the repetitiveness. Paint with me videos, all they do is make it seem easy and give you the allowance to make these mediocrity technical errors and develop bad habits. That's just my opinion. I would like to know what you guys think in the comments and stuff. But if you just imagine just making 3 paintings for the rest of your life, and 3 different, making different variations of the same 3 paintings over and over and over and over again, you would probably just fucking whack your hands off with a chainsaw. But that's just me. Anyways, okay, I'm going to shut up now. I've made my peace with it, but I really just want you guys to think about it. Think about your life, your creativity. Keep practicing. Be kind to each other, even though I'm not warm and fuzzy, but I can be. But I thank you for watching. Please, again, hit that like and notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, keep creating. Thank you a lot. You will. Take care.
Oh, this hoe trying to take deep breaths?